Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Wednesday, 27th of the 1st. Apologies for the slight delay this morning, just having a few technical problems here. Just reloading my e-signal as I'm speaking, so it's just refreshing, some data missing on that. So I would start off with just looking at and talking about sorry, you won't have a picture for a moment, but I'll just talk about the Fed meeting. We've got a Fed meeting out today, and that's really leading the day ahead. Now, one thing people are questioning is what to expect from it. I would seriously expect that the Fed will try and remain. It's a real balancing act because they want to suggest that the outlook is brightening, at the same time not raising people's expectations that we're going to see an increase in interest rates anytime soon. So it's that sort of balance. The thing is, with the inflation figures picking up, it points to that they may have to increase interest rates at some point earlier than expected, but it's still looking at 2023 before we see interest rates rise. But all that said, there's this sort of expectation of the market that something may happen, and we will see. Sorry, I just got interrupted there. So expected that we will see, effectively nothing actually change here, but let's say there's a market expectation that there'll be an interest rate, or there'll be some sort of more aggressive or bullish, hawkish statement coming through here. So we've got to just watch that. Disappointment in that hawkish statement, and a very soft approach would maybe see the dollar fall back even further. We'll see. Okay, let's have a look at these markets then as we're shaping up then this morning. The side of that Fed meeting, there's nothing significant. In terms of the charts here, looking at the euro dollar first then, so we've got this sort of flaggy sort of pattern that's kicking in there. Yesterday it looked really bearish in the morning, it got oversold eventually, and we saw quite a bounce off that. Now once again it's looking soft here, just really looking weak at the moment. We may see some more downside. It's just finding a bit of support. It's a bit of an early move, just found some support into the daily pivot there, it's put lower highs, lower lows in there. We'll just see how this shapes up this morning. It could just as easily switch back, it's there we are. At the moment, look. My view is we'll see a bit more of a correction to the downside yet. Okay, that's on the euro, this is, as I say, just a bit of a post 8 o'clock bounce going on here. I still think that will maybe produce a bit more downside. The pound making yet again new highs since 2008. Again, it's already popped in a new high this morning. It doesn't seem to be able to hold on to these gains though. It tends to put a new high in and sell off every time we've put a new high in all the way through here. It's then sold off through the day. Is this going to change things? Well, it's sold off immediately. It's put the high in this current, last 7 minutes. It's seen this bar coming down here. We'll see how it changes here. Has got a daily pivot below. A break of this sort of trend may see it running back towards that a bit. As I say, each time we've seen this, we're seeing quite a big correction. So if you come back here, you see the corrections that are coming from these sort of new highs each time. We could just see exactly the same thing. There's a minute bit of divergence on the pound up to the high tops here. Okay, yeah, someone being silly, Amit, sorry. Okay, dollar yen. Okay, the yen here, dollar yen here. On the dailies here, still looking on the weaker side. That mean, the regression mean there, it just looks like it may be a bit of a draw, and really just consolidating the price action here. Really hard to see really too much movement in the yen. The yen has been a consistent, almost sideward chop in last week into this week. It's doing exactly the same for large periods of the time, just running choppy. Makes it okay to trade against with some of the other pairings, but the other currencies rather, but on its own it's not much of a mover, is it? Aussie dollar. Aussie dollar lower highs, lower lows running through this. It's struggling. It's a bit like the pound trying to make new highs. This is just trying to get out of its range. There's effectively a trend line across the top there. It's running towards that, and it's rolling on each occasion so far. It's done it through the Asian session here. And well, let's just see if we get a bigger correction. It's got its daily pivot that's often a draw below it here, which we could see it rolling back south towards, but we'll see how this moves. I'm still sort of bullish on these markets, on these commodity markets, and expect maybe a break of that trend line on dailies at some stage. But really at the moment, preferably here, if I was going to be taken along, I'd rather see this area here taken out first. So I'd just sit there patiently waiting on that Aussie. It's just too close. It could just draw it down, set you into the trade, then draw down, or if you're going to go early, just put a stop the other side. Canadian dollar, well, let's just come out the time frames here. Canadian dollar, well, corrected strongly yesterday, ended up back in its sort of downward trend here. It's not managed to break out of this. The US dollar, Canadian dollar, US dollar is just softening at each occasion, and sitting at the moment, it's sitting on the fence is a technical term here. Then maybe a break of the trend of the lows there, could see it correct further to the downside. It's at the moment though just really triggering maybe a bit of an upside signal here at this stage, so maybe it has got a bit more in it, but really my preference would be to the downside, so I'd just wait for the break of a trend to the low side there. Okay, that's the Canadian dollar. Looking elsewhere then, S&Ps. S&Ps, well, every time everyone writes them off, they just push up into a new, and it just pipped into a new high yesterday once again, and it's well consolidated at the moment. These corrections just give opportunities, it seems to be buying. Not necessarily a smooth ride on some of these buys, but they tend to. Any further deeper retracements, it's at the moment it's looking a little bit bearish. Maybe it's got a bit of divergence across this hourly, but a break of the trend there may give just another opportunities for the highs to be approached and maybe even taken out there. So I remain bullish on the S&Ps. Yes, they may have a deeper correction at some stage. Looking at the gold consolidating where it sits at the moment, it's really, for me, it's a non-trade at this stage. Maybe after the Fed meeting we may see a bit more correction, a bit of a correction from this, but it's just really running sideways, nothing there. All I was expecting more downside. It's really, it did end up with a bit of a down day yesterday, but I'm expecting a bit more of a correction from these highs at some stage, but it doesn't seem to be happening at the moment. I'll just sit and wait until it starts seeing more. We see more weakness in this market, but at the moment it's correcting to the upside, or continue its upside movement here today. Looks okay, like it may push in even into yesterday's highs there at this stage. High lows, high highs through this hourly, can't really argue with that. So as I said, I'll wait until we see some a bit more confirmed selling into the oil before I take to the downside. But I think the upside is capped off with the amount of volumes and capacity out there. It could go very wrong very quickly on oil. Okay, that's pretty much it for me. I wish you, I know so there's a few people looking at Bitcoin. We'll just pop Bitcoin on the end there. Let's just see what it's doing on the dailies here. So again, just consolidation. As I said, with the way this is moving, with a lower high that was being confirmed in the last few days, it could still come off towards that sort of 26,000 area. That monthly pivot there may just be a bit of a draw for it. So if you're waiting, it's a bit of a waiting game to get into it if you're looking to buy into it. But there is on the futures here, we've still got this big gap here now. Whether these gaps were quite the same as they do on the cash markets, etc., we'll have to wait and see. But for now, it's looking a bit soft, and as I said, opportunities may come if it drops a bit further down there into, maybe some may enter in the 34, or that nice combination with the 50, and the monthly pivot there. Okay, that's it for me. I wish you a great day. I will speak to you in the morning. Bye for now.